The Lok Sabha Speaker Birla has in fact forwarded BJP MP Nishikant Dubey's complaint against TMC MP Mahua Moitra to the Ethics Committee of Parliament. This is the big development now in the allegations that have been made against Mahua Moitra in the cash for questions or cash for query case. The allegations are that of the 61 questions that were asked by Mahua Moitra in Parliament between 2019 and 2023, 50 were allegedly at the behest of businessman Darshan Hiranandani. Remember, there are clear do's and don'ts as far as the MPs are concerned. What is going to be the way forward in this investigation by the Ethics Committee of Parliament? Let me go straight to Vasudha Venugopal, who's tracking this story for us. Vasudha, give us the details.
Significant step, Maria, today by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. He has sent this complaint that Nishikant Dubey, who's a BJP MP, he had raised this complaint against Mahua Moitra, saying that Mahua Moitra was asking questions at the behest of businessman Darshan Hiranandani. And remember, Hiranandani Group and Adani Group are also rivals in certain sectors. And Hiranandani Group, that is under the scrutiny of the IT department, had also lost a lot of major projects to the Adani Group in the last few months. So Nishikant Dubey had raised this complaint with Om Birla, and the Speaker today has of course sent the complaint to the Ethics Committee of the Parliament. The Indian Parliament has a precedent of taking cases of probity and propriety of MPs very seriously. Remember, there's a 14-point code of conduct rules for the MPs where they are expected to honor their public position very seriously, and they're expected to declare their business interests, and it's very clearly written even in the Lok Sabha website. If you see that they cannot accept or expect any favors, any fee or remuneration for the questions they ask, or even for any bills that they want to move or resolutions that they want to pass, or even abstaining from doing any of these actions. So all of this is considered a contempt of the House, and this is exactly what Nishikant Dubey had pointed out in his complaint, that Ms Mahua Moitra had allegedly there was a breach of her parliamentary privileges and also contempt of House, and he had also accused her of criminal conspiracy. Now that Mr. Om Birla has taken cognizance of this complaint, the Ethics Committee that gets reconstituted every year in the Parliament will look into this, will examine this, will of course table this report, which of course then gets discussed. In 2005, as you all know, that 11 MPs were actually expelled from the Parliament on the cash for query controversy and allegations, and even the court had upheld this decision of the Parliament then. So some amount of trouble for Mahua Moitra in the coming days, but all of this is also in the realm of allegations. She has also put out tweets saying that she welcomes any form of inquiry as long as others that she had raised complaints against get investigated first. And this also comes close to what MOS of IT Rajiv Chandrasekhar raised yesterday, and he pointed out to something very important. He said that the language that Mahua Moitra used in her Parliament questions were very similar to the Hiranandani Group's questions to him when he had met him. Now, Hiranandani Group runs this data localization center in Noida, and data localization was a big dream for Indian government, and it is something that Atmanirbhar Bharat is also based on. But there are checks and balances that the Indian government wanted to put in place. It did not want any monopoly of any set of companies, and that is why it was taking a lot of care. And some companies, allegedly Hiranandani in this case, were also pushing for the first mover advantage, which the government did not comply with. So there was also this allegation that Mr. Chandrasekhar sort of confirmed in his tweet that this company, Hiranandani, which was aggressively pushing for data localization, used Mahua Moitra to ask the same questions that it had raised with the government.
All right, Vasudha, thank you for explaining that story for our viewers. Let me bring in Ashwani Dubey. He is the advocate of Supreme Court. Sanjay Singh, senior journalist, is joining me as well. Ashwani Dubey, in this particular case, there is a movement that has happened now, certainly a big one, with the Speaker deciding that this case be investigated or looked into by the Ethics Committee. Prima facie, if you look at the allegations, of course, the point that has been made by Nishikant Dubey is that this is a case of breach of privilege. It is about contempt of House as well. And the MPs have to declare conflict of interest before they take oath.
Yes, Maria, the allegations which have been labeled are serious in nature. Why? There is a it appears prima facie from the letter and the allegations made that there has been the violation of the parliamentary privilege and the violation of Article 105 and 194 of the Constitution of India, which guarantees the privilege, power and immunities to the elected members and committees from any kind of the criminal and civil law. But here, with the vested interest, as has been alleged, that with the vested interest, certain questions were asked. And if it is so, then it is complete violation of the privilege of the House and also violation of the Constitution of India, and also the safe harbor shield which has been provided to the Constitution to a member of Parliament, that his questions or her questions should exclusively be related to the public at large. Moment it comes to the vested interest, then in 2005, if you remember, 11 member of parliament's case, where even the courts upheld, and in that cases, graft and criminal conspiracy charges against the 11 former MPs who were charge sheeted in the infamous 2005 cash per question scam was also framed by the court. So it is a case, if it is found tomorrow by the committee constituted by the Lok Sabha Speaker, that member of parliament has asked questions with the vested interest, may it be the economical interest.
Okay, Ashwini, just hold on to your thoughts. We have West Bengal BJP President Sukanta Majumdar now joining me on the phone line. Mr. Majumdar, these developments that are happening with regards to Mahua Moitra, how is the Bengal BJP viewing it?
See, as the allegation is there, against the allegations are there against Mahua Moitra, and I think the Honorable the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Sri Om Birla ji, rightly actually he has done right thing, and he has passed all the things to the Committee of Ethics, and they will discuss these things and they will investigate, because this is a big allegation, because Adani Group is one of the emerging group of this country, and one of the leading manufacturing unit, and all kinds of units are there with them. And somehow the rivalry parties, they are using one MP to raise voice against one of the leading business house of this country inside the Lok Sabha. If it is true, then it's a breach of privilege, and that MP should be punished. And for that we need an investigation. So before investigation, we can't say anything, but as there is an allegation, so it should be investigated thoroughly.
And talking about the politics of it, Sukanta Majumdar, will you also question the silence of the India parties? Because we have been trying to get a reaction from the Trinamool Congress. They haven't said anything so far.
See, they don't have anything to say. Even in politically, Mahua Moitra is not a big thing in Bengal, state of Bengal. Mahua Moitra may be a blue-eyed child of media, or maybe in the Delhi. But in Bengal politics, she has very less impact in Bengal politics. So that's why maybe the TMC is not saying anything, because they don't have to say anything. They don't have any support in their front. So obviously they can't say anything regarding this. Only the investigation will bring out the truth. And if anybody found guilty, he or she should be punished.
What is, Sukanta Majumdar, since you are also a member of parliament, I want to understand from you, MPs can be, asked by a group to raise questions on their behalf. Why do you think this is problematic in case of Mahua Moitra? Is it because of the allegations that she received money for raising those questions? And there is a pattern of 50 questions being raised on behalf of a business house out of 61 that she raised between 2019 and 2023.
So that is the point of worry. Now, why a MP is deliberately asking the question on a single matter to target any single business house, and it is the allegation that she obtained money from that rivalry of that house. So obviously, anyone can approach to the MP, but to raise any question. But as out of 51 questions are from a single point agenda behind it, so it is quite clear that it is paid, the paid kind of thing. Otherwise, why MP is so keen to ask question on only one business house?
All right, Sukanda Majumdar, West Bengal BJP President, thank you so much for joining us. Let me bring in Sanjay Singh and Ashwani Dubey. Ashwani Dubey, you were making a point. Please go ahead and finish your point, please.
Yes, Maria. So, Maria, the freedom of his speech, right of publication of his proceedings, and there are certain other privileges, which is like freedom from arrest, right to exclude strangers from his proceeding and hold secret sessions, right to ban the publication of his proceedings and reports. There are certain privileges and also breach which has been defined in the constitution itself and also business transactions rules of the Lok Sabha. Meaning thereby Article 105 and 194 of the Constitution of India says that a member of parliament has certain immunity. Means any question asked inside the parliament cannot be questions. But moment that question has been asked with the vested interest by taking money or other gratification or contrary or beyond the business transactions rules and immunity provided, then that become the breach of privilege of motion. So the allegations it has not been labeled by any ordinary person. It has been labeled. It has been raised by the same member of the house, a member of parliament, and with the dates, with the events, he has written a letter to the honorable Lok Sabha speaker that look, these are the events, these are the allegations in which the member of parliament has allegedly asked questions with the vested interest, with the interest where the economic interest of the people sitting behind the curtain. They have an access to her the domain and access to her website or email ID of the which has been generated, ID which has been generated by the parliament. It means it is the immunity which has been given under Article 105 immediately automatically withdraws. Okay. And that is what the Lok Sabha speaker should constitute a committee. And if committee finds that there is a cash,
so ethics committee will now be looking into it. I'm going to come back to you, Ashwani. Sanjay Singh, the Ethics Committee of Parliament will now be looking into it. Of course, we know how these parliament committees have politicians across party lines. Do you think that is where the real test would come? Because what we saw in 2005 was 11 MPs being suspended till the time the inquiry was completed, and then final expulsion happened. But there was this resolution which was passed in which Pranab Mukherjee and LK Advani came together. But then there were MPs of various political parties at that time, and then there was a sting operation. What happens in this case?
Maria, I think two are different cases. That was a sting operation. As you said, this is a case of clear breach of privilege. I also dare say that this is also a case where some kind of criminality, so to say, that is for the lawyers to decide, for legality to be decided. But yes, this is a completely different case than that of a sting operation case where 5,000 rupees were at stake. Here, many things are at stake because in case of a corporate rivalry and making that as a political issue, I think Mahua Moitra perhaps is in serious trouble. Speaker referring this to the Ethics Committee, of course, member of different political parties would be there. An answer to your question lay in the thing that perhaps you or BJP president from West Bengal was saying, that the party, TMC as a party, is broadly silent on this particular issue. Remember, Mahua Moitra has often been at odds with parties. There was a controversy on Kali and last year. And in this particular case, other parties, some leaders here and there have given a generic statement, but no substantive response has come from any political party, ND Alliance, so to say. Of course, their members would be there, but I don't think Mahua Moitra is going to have a smooth sailing. I also think that a series of responses that she has posted on X, this is not a matter which is going to be decided on tweets based on X, and people are going to make their own conclusion, of course. But this is an issue where, as an MP, people, 15-20 lakh people of your constituency, repose their complete trust and confidence in you. You'll go there, you'll be a lawmaker, represent our constituency, do something good for the society and for us. In this particular case, and therefore, to my understanding, you have parliamentary privileges and also some immunities. You break all these things for certain considerations. The allegations made on sworn affidavit are true, then this case goes much bigger. I think the implication of this case is much bigger. This involves also matters to be examined of national security. The huge cash exchange that would involve bribery and other kinds of gift, as has been mentioned,
Okay.
and also the matter of ethics, probity, morality, all those things.
Yes,
Political
probity. It's about
ideation,
what are
all those
do's
things,
and
of course,
don'ts, as we say, breach of privilege, what member of parliament can do, what they cannot do. It's very clear. And now the ethics committee will be examining this complaint and then making recommendations. The committee can formulate or suggest changes or do additions to the code of conduct. But prima facie, if this is violation of code of conduct, what happens next, Ashwani Dubey?
Maria, there are two aspects. Aspect number one, let's read the judgment of 2000. Let's read this, refer the case of 2005, where 11 member of parliaments were at the first hand, they were suspended, and that there on the later on the corruption and gratification charges were framed against them for asking questions in lieu of the case. If as a student of law, if prima facie I understand it, and if we refer to the letter of the member of parliament, Mr. Dubey, then we find that there are allegations which has some worth, some credence. Because member of parliament, Mr. Dubey, also knows that if suppose his allegations are not found to be true, he has to face the consequences, because the letter written by him is in public domain, and if it violates the rights or if it violates the this Mahua Moitra's what she has the reputation. If her reputation comes to stake, that she can also file. So here is the question: when the specific letters with the specific allegations has been referred to the Lok Sabha Speaker may take action referring the past precedents. And even the Lok Sabha Speaker, till the pendency of the investigation, may in fact suspend the membership of the member concerned against whom the allegations have been leveled, because the three issues are broadly is to be considered. One, where there is a breach of privilege, then if you read the letter, and I also read the letter, then I find that there are questions which has been asked, means the immunity under Article 105 has been the breach has been done, and privilege has been, there is a violation of the privilege. And the second, if yes, then what is the nature of that breach? The nature of the breach is also similar to what the cash for query scam you relate. And third, what were the circumstances which led to such a breach? So let us see what happens. But I also, as a student of law, understand, because they are the legislature, they are accountable to the public, they have a public life, they have a constitutional obligation, they have morality, constitutional morality. So till the time the allegations are being examined, the member of parliament concerned should be suspended, and she should be directed to join the investigation. Later, what will happen, that Mr. Dubey has to face the consequences if allegations are not found to be true. Because country run by the rule of law, she can always file a case under section 499, 500 IPC that she has been defended in public. But here, the question clearly says that her ID was in the excess of a businessman. The questions were being asked at the behest of the businessman. Certain amount of money has been allegedly delivered. All these questions needs answer.
Yes.
So let us see what will happen. But prima facie it appears that this is a breach of the privilege of Article 105 and 194 of the Constitution of
Yes,
India.
and members of parliament must declare business interests when sworn in. Register of members' interests have to be maintained, and they cannot take fee or favor for introducing bill. They cannot take fee or favor for putting a question or abstaining. All this is clearly mentioned in do's and don'ts for MPs. So when we look at the ethics committee, and Ashwani Dubey here is saying that till the time the ethics committee comes to a conclusion of how they will be going ahead with it, they can refer it to another committee. Just we saw in case of 2005 when it was a Pawan Kumar Bansal-led committee examining this, investigating into the charges. What in this one? Ethics committee, it's a divided house again. Will it be going into details of it? How do you look at this story going ahead?
There could be a separate inquiry committee. That possibility, of course, is there. Ethics committee, meanwhile, can decide. And Speaker, I think with some kind of by convening a meeting, can take action But in this particular case, I think than the cash for query of 2005, here a complaint, a sworn affidavit, has also been filed to the CBI. A complaint has also been made to the MITI. And the Minister of State for Information Technology and Electronics has made a very very shocking statement whereby he himself says that this is shocking and shameful, whereby he finds language of the parliamentary question and head of a business house who was actually lobbying for data localization are the same. We know the names. We of course there is not a difficulty, and your channel was also running the name, that Mr. Hiranandani's language and what Mahua Moitra wrote in her question is also were broadly kind of the same. The fact remains, the big question is, if Mahua Moitra was a voice of a certain corporate house when she was framing the question, this is not a question when she says and posts on X that the private assistants and interns and trainees have the MPs give their access to them. This is an entirely different set of the charges are entirely different. That some corporate house was given access to settle his corporate kind of rivalry with another corporate house, and also to promote his own business interest. That is a very, very grave charge. And therefore, I say this is not something which is going to be kind of decided on X. This is broadly.
And there is also a complaint that has been made by Jay Dehadri, advocate, before the CBI. So let's see what happens on that front. Thanks so much for your time, Ashwini Dubey. Always a pleasure to have you on my shows. And Sanjay Singh, senior journalist, putting that story in context. News and updates will continue on the other side.